Welcome everyone, namaste. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to repeat just one more time that this is being recorded only on my side, and then you will get a link, a private link, so you can use it later on. And I added extra props that perhaps you didn't have in the list of things, but as you will have the link to work with it later, you can possibly, if you don't have exactly the same thing today, you can possibly have it later to practice again when you want, okay? I'm Karina. This is a workshop where we will be working mainly exercises that are what we call passive and active, different exercises to stretch and feel good. The stretching and the passive part is when we like stretch and we feel better, and some of other ones that are more active, where we are going to actually develop more strength and ask for our muscles to develop more like awakening and more like pulling some areas that sometimes we like to stretch, but we don't develop a lot of strength, okay? So to start, what I want to do is a little bit of a game that I tend to do when I do the live workshops, and it's just to get a little bit of more awareness or an idea of what's going on around our neck and upper back area, okay? So what I'm going to do is to share a PowerPoint, and we are playing a little game. It's like 5 different questions, and you can just in your head answer the which option you think is the right one, and then I'll share the answer, and we go from there, okay? So, that's it. Good. So this is called a pain in the neck. And yeah, okay. Can you see this?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, we go from there. Number 1, this is the first part of the game. How many vertebrae does the cervical region have? And there you have 3 options, 3, 33, or 7. How many vertebrae does the cervical region have? Okay. Did you think? Think a little. A, B, or C?
C.
Good. I have some answers there. Okay, let's go to the answer. So C is the correct answer. The spine has 33 irregularly shaped bones called vertebrae, but the cervical spine is made up of the first 7, and they support the head and neck and allow nodding and shaking movements, okay? So the neck in particular, or the area that we call the cervical region, is made up of 7 vertebrae. How many muscles does the neck have? So this one is a little different. A, 78, 26, or 6?
6.
I have some 6s.
26.
26. Good. Okay. It's okay. It's all good. Answer here is B.
Oh, really?
Wow. So there are 26 muscles in the neck, 10 pairs of 2 that will make, of course, 20, and then 2 sets of 3. And they are responsible for head movement, stabilizing the upper region of the body, assisting in swallowing, helping to elevate the rib cage during inhalation, and more. This is just some of the examples. And the neck muscles, they attach to various bones of the skull, the spine, the thoracic cavity, and shoulder girdle, okay? So here, like in the picture, you can see an example of how like there's long lines of muscles, and even like there's like some that are going into the back that are really super big, thick muscles. And in many of the studies that I was reading, there's not even like one only movement to perhaps like stretch or strengthen that muscle. Sometimes you need different sets of movements or ranges of activity to really activate and organize, right, in a stronger manner those muscle groups. Good. Happy nerves. How many pairs of spinal nerves do we carry in the neck? there we have a few options. 8 pairs of nerves labeled C1 to C8, 10 pairs C1 to C10, and 2 pairs labeled C5 to C7.
A.
A. Good. Think.
Let's see C again.
C. Good. Okay.
Oh.
Awesome. Good. It's interesting, right? Just interesting stuff to know. We don't have to remember it all the time. A is the answer. So it says spinal nerves branch off from the spinal cord to innervate the rest of the body. So there are 8 pairs. This complex network of nerves enables the brain to receive sensory inputs from the skin and to send motor controls for muscle movements. In the cervical spine, there are 8 pairs of spinal nerves labeled C1 to C8, which innervate the neck, arms, hands, and more. Good. Just we are closer to the end, but some statistics. What's the percentage of US population affected by neck pain?
C.
A, B, or C?
C.
Nilgun says C, okay. Good. Any other takers? Well, maybe you're thinking in your head and you're not saying. All good? Okay. This, of course, changes, right, from year to year, but this one is from this year. So you're going to be surprised to know that A is the correct answer.
Only 30%.
Only 30%, but it's really like kind of like it's relative, because even though, like it says in there, the annual rate exceeds more or less 30% among adults. Among the adults, between 20 and 70% will experience neck pain that interferes with their daily activities. 10% more or less of that neck pain is associated with illnesses, such as some specific ones, like that one, the first one, polymyalgia is a syndrome that brings stiffness, usually in the neck, in the shoulders, and the hips, and it can be something that is very sudden or occur gradually. It's a very specific illness. And then the other one that it's called ankylosing spondylitis. I don't know how to say it. That one is a type of arthritis, and it has a long-term inflammation in the joints, and also brings back pain. So those ones are kind of specific for different illnesses, but the factors that influence the most in neck pain include ergonomics, the way we are sitting or standing, physical activity, repetitive movements, fitness-related factors like body weight, diet and hydration, and injury or illness. Okay. And then this one is, I think, one of the most important ones that I like a lot in this PowerPoint, and it's how much weight does the neck carry? Do you have an idea? How much weight is it holding?
12 pounds.
Good, 12 or 24 or not that much.
Okay.
And good. So the answer is A, 12 pounds. But, and this is the part that it's interesting, the amount of pressure on the neck more than doubles for every 15 degrees of neck bend. That means that it's easy to picture the strain and potential damage of the text neck, right, when we have the head forward. And if we consider that an upright position with the neck vertical and your ears in line with your shoulders, the average human head weighs 12 pounds. Adjust the 15-degree tilt towards your chest, that weight increases to 27.
Oh.
And at 60-degree angle, which is more or less what we do when we are looking at a smartphone, or when you are like sitting at a desk and you're like leaning forward to look at your computer, that weight increases to 60 pounds, which is a lot. And that's more than the weight of 4 bowling balls. And it is, there are studies that say that we spend an average of 4 hours a day on our phones. And I would say that lately, because of lockdown and stuff, maybe even more, right? So I find this super interesting, or at least interesting in bringing a lot of awareness on how we are putting our heads right above our shoulders. That's the end of the slideshow. Wait. Oh, okay. Good. And now I stop the share. Stop share. Cool. Okay, I'm like learning how to share this stuff. Super. Good. Okay, so before I start, so some people are asking, what is the blue ball for, Marcy? So the bigger ball, I'm going to try and do a couple of exercises at the wall using that ball that it's a little bigger. But if you have a small one, it possibly works as well. Okay, I brought for me like some things that are a little bigger so you can see them and maybe they are helpful, but don't worry about that. Okay, so then I'm going to let you, I mean, I'm just like pressing in some of you guys, like the microphone. So if you want to unmute yourself and ask questions, you can do that, okay?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I really appreciate that you're sending the link of the recording to us. That's really, really valuable to me.
Yes. Thank you.
How often do you think, or do you recommend us to do this thing afterwards? I mean, is it like, in order to keep the neck healthy and strong?
Yes.
What is your recommendation?
So these, you'll see we're going to do a big array of different exercises. And I don't think that like every day doing 2 hours of exercises, I mean, that's too much, right? But yes, there is, I think, from all of the things that you're going to practice or see today, I'm going to kind of like what I want to do mainly is to demo as much as I can so you have kind of like in your pocket a lot of ideas. And then I think that depending on what is it that you're feeling, what type of pain, you can choose perhaps 5 or 6 and do like maybe twice a week or 3 times a week, a set of 5 different things. Because I'm going, like I said, to be demoing, maybe in some of them I'm not going to stay super long, but sometimes the more repetitions you add into one specific exercise, that's what develops more strength or gives more release in the neck, right? So I don't want to specifically say you can do it, I mean, you should do exactly this or exactly that, but having, I think, the array of exercises and then choosing, like I said, maybe to do 3 or 4, and you do a set, and maybe you spend like a good 10-15 minutes in one set that you choose, that will be good. And you can repeat that same set like for a whole week, like doing it 3 times a week, and then maybe switching to something different, like a different set. Okay.
Thank you.
So everybody, now I saw some of you could not unmute yourself. Are you okay now? I kind of like went through most of the most of the windows. Okay, good. Call me like this or text me there. Elizabeth. Okay, let me check just where Elizabeth is so I can go there. Oh, okay. There, that's it. You're in.
Thank
Good.
you.
Super. So let's go to the first thing that I want to do. So first I'm going to start with some more like what we call passive range of motion exercises that are really helpful. And for that, I'm going to start with my 2 tennis balls, let's say, or therapy balls if you have them, and you will need a sock. So you put them inside if you don't have them like this, so they stay together, okay? Good. Because I'm not going to be like a lot of standing postures, I can come closer. And the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to play with this set, let's say this little bag with the 2 balls in different areas in the back. But the first thing that I'm going to do today is if you touch in your head, like right at the end of like the skull, there is like this little entry, right, that you can touch right there. I mean, I have my hair there, but it's like, it's not in the neck, so it's not in this portion, but it's above, like right where you feel like the skull coming together. And that's where we're going to start first and try to put the 2 balls. And I'm going to lie down, but I'm going to show you how, okay? So that will be the first place. And I want you to also have a block with you because we are going to add it so we apply a little bit more pressure to that, okay? So I'm going to first come onto my back. I'm going to set that bag right in that place, right? And I'm going to bring myself there. And possibly once you come down, maybe not, but you may feel like a little bit of trigger point. Sometimes you feel a little bit of like a little current of electricity or energy coming up towards your eyes. That means that there is a trigger point there, right? So, or you may feel a little bit more sensation on one side and the other. So once you have it there, like I said, it's not in the neck, it's right under, right? Like that place where it's like the connection. And then if this feels like the pressure is okay, bring the chin in a little. And just the idea here is to apply pressure with your head onto the setup that you have, okay? Now I'm going to give you a little bit of like an extra idea. Stay there, right? You don't need to change it, but it's kind of logical. But if I bring myself, my hips to be higher, the weight there on the balls, it's going to be strong. So let's say if I choose to have my block flat under my pelvis and I'm a little higher, you may feel a little bit more pressure on that place, okay? And I'm going to try and bring my chin slightly in to the chest. And I'm going to just apply pressure of my head down into the sack or sock with the tennis balls. Yes? Stay there for a moment.
Baxter, you can mute me. Dog is barking.
Usually that's why I mute, so we don't go over each other's. Okay, cool. Ask me if you want me to unmute you, okay? I'm going to mute all just for now. Okay, so stay there. I have a timer with me, so I want you to try and stay there and breathe a few times. So I'm going to try and keep like a minimum amount of time for each of the exercises, and just keep that pressure onto that tennis balls or the setup for a few more breaths. Good. I'm going to give you another option that you can add here. You can still wait for a couple more breaths, but I'm going to add a little, another extra option is that keeping the chin slightly in, you can very mildly and gently start moving the head from side to side. So it won't go super far because you have the, of course, the setup there, right? So it's not that it's a big, big range of movement. I'm going to do it. So I have the setup exactly where it was before. I have the chin in, and I'm just kind of like if I want to go and look towards the right shoulder. And then I'm very slowly returning to the center. And then I'm going with the chin towards the left shoulder. Like if I want to, of course, look at the left side and then back. This exercise, while you are testing it and trying it, it's an exercise that it may feel a little intense. And one of the things that it has that it's beneficial is that it can help with headaches, because it triggers points that sometimes, not sometimes, but are connected to the front, right? And sometimes we have headaches, so that can be beneficial. So test a few of those. I'm keeping the chin in, right, while I'm doing that. Good. Super. And then slowly roll yourself over to one side so you can get out and press with your forearms and sit up so you can look at what's going to happen after. Okay, so now from this, so you got that idea, right? So we were really in the head. I move my hair so I can show you better. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the therapy balls out of that sock. We may use them together again later, but now I'm going to take them out. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start, we're going to go into the same setup as before. So I'm going to lie down, but this time I'm going to put the balls. You know when we put like, well, this tank top is a little different, but where we have like the lines of the tank tops usually. So that's where I want them, and they are at the very top. So like as you can see, nothing in my neck. It's at the base, right? It's like where I feel like the bra strap or the tank tops, the tank top straps, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to have the block for this one underneath for now, I'm not. And I'm going to try and set that up. And you may need to add perhaps a blanket if you want under the head. If you don't need it, don't. And I want you to just first sense there. So I have the balls both right under that line, that it's like the strap line. And once you are there, just first take a couple of breaths. Let the upper back or that upper ledge in your shoulder blades drop into the therapy balls. And then slowly what we're going to do is to add movements with the arms. So I'm going to bring my arms up towards the ceiling and then over the head towards the wall you have behind you or the piece of furniture that is behind. And then very slowly I'm going to come back and return all the way. And again, I'm going to slowly mobilize my arms up, over, as far as I can go. And then a little further, coming back, all the way down. Good, keep going for, I'm going to say 3, 4 more. If you saw how I was showing that, I'm going pretty slow, okay? So it's not fast. So you can, it gets a little deeper right into that area. You may feel a little bit of tension or areas that feel a little constricted, okay? Good. Good. Okay. Super. You got that idea, right? You could, even though I gave you like the idea of going with both arms up and back, you could also do only one at the time and then return, and then the other one and return, right? Just to give you extra ideas there. Good. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, if you want to sit again over to the side and sit up, we're going to be moving the balls, just so you know, I'm going to be moving them along the spine a few times. Now, instead of being like right there where like the bra straps are, the regular straps are, I'm going to bring them more towards where the collar of regularly a t-shirt is. So it's a little further in, right? I don't have like a regular t-shirt, but it's like, imagine like when you wear like a regular t-shirt and it has the collar there in the back. So it's right there. It's a little further in and a little further down. You see it? More or less. Good. That's where I'm going to go now. So now go and see if you can more or less set them in that place as you come down. And in this one, once you get there, don't worry, take your time. You're going to lace your fingers and put the hands behind the head. So you're holding your head. Good. And with the lace fingers behind, you're going to extend over, right? So you're going to try and send the head back, but it's held by your hands, opening through the elbows to the sides, and stay there for a few breaths. Good. And then Keep breathing, don't rush. I'm just saying things that are coming. What I'm going to do is keeping the hands, holding my head and lengthening the back of the neck, right? With the balls there as you have them. What I'm going to do is create slow movements to lift my head a little bit. So what I'm trying to do is to lengthen the back of the neck, right? I'm coming up with the chin coming up, up a little bit towards the chest, and then I'm coming back to where I was a little bit more released, right? So I'm lifting the head, stretching the back of the neck. It's not very big, and then I'm coming down again. Good, and go like that a few times, perfect. So I can see some of you do it. Good, you keep your knees bent with the feet down, right? So you're not upsetting the lower back or nothing like that. It's mainly working upper back. And the neck, of course. Beautiful. Valerie, I see that's good. Good. Okay, good. Remember that slow gives you more than fast. So just take a few times. So also a good opportunity to remember, right, the exercises as we do them. Good. Good. Then, okay, the same idea. And now what I'm going to try and do, keeping those balls exactly where they are. One more exercise. I'm going to bring the elbows towards each other. Then I'm going to extend them towards the back, and then I'm going to reopen. And again, bringing them in towards each other, maybe stretch them a little bit further towards the back, and then you reopen. So it's a little bit like circling, even though it's not completely circling, but we are trying to do that as we hold those therapy balls or tennis balls in that same area. Good. Okay, very nice. Just for an idea, you don't have to do it now because I don't want to stress the area so much. You could, of course, do the reverse, right? So you could bring the elbows out and then back and then try to bring them in just a few times. But after you do a couple more of those, what I want you to do is to, when you feel like you're done with this one or you're getting it into your system, you're going to roll back again onto one side, take both therapy balls out for a moment, and I want you to rest without any of the therapy balls and put your hands on your belly and breathe there a couple of times, just to notice any sensations that are starting to arise there as you are working the zone. Good. Okay. Nice. Then slowly press up again onto your side to come back up to a seat. Okay, this one is going to be a little harder to show you because my arms aren't going so far. But we were here in the collar, like the collar area. And now I'm going to move a little further down. Okay, I'm lifting. Alongside the spine, I'm coming a little further down. It's kind of like more towards shoulder blade, right? The inner portion. And again, I'm going to come down. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to try and set myself where the shoulder blades are. So it's a little bit more like towards where the bra strap goes, right? So then you have more of a visual, okay? And in this one, what I want you to do here is first release the arms and feel the sensation in those 2 points where you have the balls. Good. And then I'm going to bring my arms, like I'm going to give myself a hug, and I'm just going to rock with my arms from side to side a few times. And you can stay in one side that feels like, oh, like you're like, again, getting into some specific point that triggers something. You come back whenever you feel like that, and then going the other way. So a little bit of swinging, And like I said, maybe pausing somewhere where you need to pause. Good, stay there a few times, or you can rest at the center, okay? Good. Beautiful, then you come back to center, stay there for a breath or two. And then roll over again to the side and sit up. So what I want to give you the idea is that what we are doing is that we are starting at the top and we are going like in different points, right? Moving down through the thoracic spine, and we can keep going further back. I'm just going to add one more, even though we could do a couple more. But this one, I want to take it a little bit more towards the end of the shoulder blades. So it's a little bit lower. And in that one, we are going to do a different exercise. And this helps a lot with the thoracics, which are related. There's like I said before, these the trapezius muscles, which are super, super big. They start here in the neck and they go all the way down. And there's no one way to open it up or stretch it. So when we go like isolating areas, then we can get into that group muscle better. So I'm gonna go into the base, and I'm going to come back again where I was one more time. So I'm going right below the bra strap this time, right? Before we were more or less above, a little bit above or over the bra strap, the bra where we click it. And now I'm going to go a little further down, okay? So I'm moving it a little further down. And from here, this one is different. I'm going to bring one knee into the chest. And with the leg applying pressure into my belly, abdomen, or towards the chest, you're gonna feel that into the place where the therapy balls are. So just one leg at a time, stay there for a few breaths. I'm going to say 3 to 5 breaths before switching to the opposite leg. Good. Stay there. So same amount of breaths on one side. And then whenever you're like, okay, I did 5, I understood this, you move into the second leg, you do the same. Good. After you do both, don't rush, but I want to tell you another idea to do with this. So after we are doing only one at a time, not both because it's too intense, okay? So you're doing one knee into the chest, hugging it in. After you did the certain amount of breaths, I'm going to say 5, you go to the second side, you do that second side another 5 breaths, and then we're going to go back to the first knee. And instead of just hugging it into the chest, I'm just going to show the movement in case, even though it's super easy and you don't need to see it. Imagine I have the balls there right where they were. What I'm going to do now is to move that knee a little bit from side to side. I still have the opposite foot helping me ground, okay? So I'm just moving that knee sideways, right to left or left to right, a few times. So a little bit of a different movement there. Instead of just pressing in, laterally going side to side. Of course, laterally means side to side. Good. And then you would be doing the same thing on the other side. Okay, without rush, again, pick how many on one side and then the same thing on the other side. Good. The option that I said don't do, I don't want to scare you or anything, but to have both knees into the chest with the therapy balls underneath, it's not that it's something that you cannot do. It's good just to start one by one and notice the sensations there, or if it feels like the pressure is too much. And of course, I always like, if you know me, to gradually add more. So if you feel like both knees coming to your abdomen or towards the navel, you can bear with that weight and it feels good to apply pressure both at the same time. Of course, you can slowly, like you can grow into adding that further, and of course also rolling a little bit from side to side, okay? Good. After you're done with both sides, I want you to like go in there and take the balls out, and you're going to release the trunk and you're going to extend your legs and take a few cycles there. I want you to notice sensations in the breathing. Where is the breath going? And maybe you feel a little bit of a difference in the upper back or the shoulders. Good. Okay. One more breath, and then slowly roll over to the side and press up to a seat. I'm going to show you a couple of other things. So, I'm going to come closer. Super. You're going to find the seat. I sometimes like to practice sitting on my heels. This we call like close to Virasana shape. You can take a block, put it in between the heels if this is a shape that you're used to, and sit there. It's a good practice for this shape and activating the legs, but it gets tiring. You can cross your legs in front of you, okay? I'm just going to stay like this for a moment. And what we are going to do here is a few exercises now, upper back and neck. So first thing that I'm going to do is to, again, do like I did when I was lying down, like if I'm going to hug myself, but this time, what I want us to do is to try and take the hands towards the shoulder blades, okay? So just so you see, right, a little bit of that, okay? And in this shape, then we're going to switch the arm that it's on top, so don't worry which one is on top, just remember. And what I'm going to do, it's very much like a cat-cow, if you know what that means. I'm going to show it, but with a little bit of a difference. So I want you to see this one time. What I'm going to do here is, when I'm rounding, I'm moving, right, the thoracic, so I open up. So I'm going to go this way and bring the chin down. When I'm opening in the inhalation, I don't want the elbows to go up. I want to keep them close to my chest. So we are going to try and do that, even though I'm going to be arching and lifting. But you see that I'm not doing this. That's not the one that I want, okay? So let's try and go from here and do 5 like this. Inhaling, it's that arch that it's called the cow usually. And then with the exhale, chin in, round, feel the upper back. And again, inhale, keep the elbows close to the chest. And exhale, navel in. Same idea as cat-cow. Again, inhale. Nice. Try to soften the skin in the face. Exhale, bring it in. Feel those wings behind you opening up. Very important because the thoracics, they are hard to open up, and we usually don't do a lot of exercises where we really assess that area. Good. Keep going with your natural cycle. 1 or 2 more, right? We are close to the 5. Beautiful. Keeping those elbows close to the chest. When you come back from the last one, release the arms. No, don't rush, I'm just saying. And take a deep breath in and out, okay? So notice there, and you can even wiggle a little bit through the shoulders to feel the sensation. And then we'll add second side. Same idea. So this is a super simple exercise that you can do at home without any props, right? Sitting any way you want. And again, remember the only difference is that I don't want the elbows to go up like we do sometimes when we do the eagle arms or like that, okay? We keep the hands holding back, and the elbows down into the chest. And then go when you're ready. Inhale. Feel those shoulder blades moving in and the heart lifting. And then with the exhale, navel in, chin in, and you open up as much as you can. Beautiful. Add 3 or 4 more. My mom is visiting from Argentina. She's also taking the class. Good. Try to soften your jawline and your tongue so we are not trespassing, I want to say, the tension into another place, okay? Good. At the end of your last one, 4 or 5, you're going to release again. Don't rush, please. And again, like just shake it a little. Good. And I'm going to, from here, show you another one, pretty simple. I'm changing my seat. And if you need to change the seat, do it. Now I'm going to bring my fingertips into the shoulders. If you take class with me, you may have done this in the past. It's also super good for shoulder joints and for the upper back. I'm going to bring my elbows in, almost touching if they are not able to touch, or as close as possible. Then up, then back, and up. And again, no going fast. So this is slow-mo, like one of my teachers says. So slow motion. Imagine you're really like, yes, in those movies that are going super slow. Notice if your neck or your head is coming forward. Remember what we were saying about the weight that we are putting? So try to keep those ears above your shoulders. And we are going into those shoulder joints. A lot of the exercises that I'm showing you today are very good for rotator cuff injuries or shoulder injuries going on, okay? I took them from a lot of physical therapists that I follow. And then slowly reverse it, maybe just 3 so you remember, right? We want to go both ways. Same idea. Go a few times. Good. Okay. And then after you're done, release, shake it a little. Good. Continuing with this idea, I'm going to show you one where I'm going to use a sticky or a band, okay? So anything that looks like this, or if not, it could be a regular belt. It's just that it's not going to give you maybe the same sensation or action. I'll show you, and then you can test what works for you, okay? I'm going to bring my stretchy band right behind my shoulder blades. So I'm putting it right there, thoracic spine, okay? And I'm coming into the tabletop. We're going to do a cat-cow, but the cat-cow will be with both my hands pressing into my stretchy band, as you can see, okay? So either, sometimes they can move away. So either like holding, like I'm holding and I'm doing kind of like, well, this side has like a little hook in there that it's made from before. So I'm just putting my hand in there. But if not, you just like squeeze like I'm doing on this side, like the hand around it so it doesn't go out or pop. Good. And then from there, pressing into my hands are under the shoulders, or they can be even a little wider. From here, I'm going to inhale and do that cow. And then with the exhale, I'm going to really press my palms down and push my band up and away, belly up, okay? And again, inhale. When I'm inhaling, if I go too much into the arch, the band is going to move down, like what's happening with me. So maybe not so much the arching, but more of the other one, pushing up, navel moving up to the spine, and then I'm returning more towards the neutral, okay? And then push again, and create that action. A few cycles like that, Yes, good. Push. Yes, super. And chin in. And I want you to feel that sensation of the upper back pressing and lifting that band. Christina, that looks great. Good. Super. Maybe one or two more, or a few more if you're just starting. Carol, that's great. Super. Press into that band and lift it up. Good. Okay. Nice. Super. Then we come back towards the neutral. Sit back for a moment. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Okay. Good. Super. Some other exercise. So now I'm going to take my other band, but if you have the same thing, you can use possibly the same thing. I'm going to use this one because it's already like looped and I don't have to tie it, okay? So like this, or you tie the same one that you have and you're going to put it next to your wrists, a little bit above. And I'm going to show you standing, so I'm going to move this a little so you can see. I'm going to do it standing, but you can very well be sitting. Good. Here, this is going to fire neck and upper back. I'm going to press, like if I want to do like pumps. So I'm just pressing, my palms are facing each other. This is less passive, right? So it's active range of like motion to create strength in the upper back. And look at what I'm going to do. I'm going sideways so you can see. I'm going to press and lift the arms as I'm doing that pumping action. I'm going back so you can see. I'm going all the way. And then I'm coming back. This gets tiring, okay? So I'm just showing you a few. This is one of those that you do perhaps 5 repetitions. And then you release because you're going to feel it. Keep going, maybe one more time. You feel that resistance? Yep. Good. Super. Nice. Okay. Super. This is one that it's very good to create more of that strength that we want in the upper back, and sometimes it feels a little bit like, but that's what's making the muscles develop that strength to hold the neck and the head. Good. Okay, now I'm going to show you a different one. I'm taking my bigger one because in this one I'm going to go a little further. Okay, so if you have one that is like this, if not, you play with the same one that you have and try to go from there. I'm going to keep my elbows together and I have my hands are underneath the band, so they are facing up. And I'm going to do like, if I want to do a W letter. So I'm going to come up, stretching, and then back. Okay, maybe a little shorter. And up. That also depends on how easy to stretch the band that you have is or not. And again, up and back. Up. Good. So remember it's the W, and I'm keeping my elbows close to my trunk. Okay. I have specific neck exercises that we're going to be doing soon. So I'm showing you different things. Good. Okay. I'm going to do one more and I'm going to release, take a breath before I show you another one that is similar, but not exactly. Okay. Good. Now I was holding my band from underneath. Now I'm going to change. I'm going to hold from above. That changes the work that I'm doing in the muscles. And in this one, I'm going to do first the same as before. So just holding from above, elbows in. Again, I'm going to try and go towards that W and back. It may feel a little different. One elbow doesn't want to stay. Go into the W and then back. Try like 5 times. Good. Keep going, maybe one more. Super. Nice. Then again, we rest, keep the band because we're using it again. Keep the band and just rest a moment there. This one creates more of that tension in the upper back and neck muscles. And now I'm going to do a little different. I'm going to bring my arms in front of me, and instead of doing that W, I'm going to just go straight out to the sides and then back, okay? If you want to make it a little bit more tension and a little bit more challenging, then you put the hands a little closer to each other, okay? Without breaking the band. And then again, out. So in this one, I'm trying, you see, I'm not bending my elbows. I'm just trying to pull the band away and back. And away and back. Good. Let's do 2 or 3 more. Good. Okay, I have the band, so I'm going to show you a few more here. Another one, super good, neck and shoulders. I'm going sideways. Remember, we don't want to create a text neck. I want to keep my ears above my shoulders. Many times I tell my students, you want to have the idea that the back of your skull, the back of your shoulder blades, and your sacrum, the 3 S's, skull, scapulae, sacrum, they are touching a wall. Okay, I have a wall here, so like you can play with those 3 places, those 3 points, just to feel the sensation of standing that way. That's where you want your head to be. Okay, that's a little trick that I use a lot when I'm practicing, and I try sometimes to remember to tell my students, if you have that reference, it can be very helpful on alignment and core stability. Okay, so keeping that with the wall or without, what we are going to do again with the band is that I'm going to bring my arms up. Of course, this is not able, like you won't be able to do it at the wall because I want us to send the arms a little further back, as far as they go for you. Then you come back and release, okay? Here, the idea is, like I said, to try and keep the head above the spine. So the ears above the shoulders. You go maybe a little further back without taking the head forward, and then back and down. Beautiful. You may hear some clicking in the shoulder joints or maybe sounds, okay? If those sounds don't bring any pain, they may be absolutely normal, okay? Many times that happens, that they are a little bit constricted, okay? But no pain or sharp pain. Oh, Valerie, your band snapped. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Okay, good. So we are doing that one. I'm going to show you another trick. Again with the band, or if you have something similar to a band, now I'm going to keep one side down. I'm starting on this side so you can do your right first. And what I'm going to do here is to go up in a diagonal and back. Up in a diagonal and back. You may feel it in different muscles. All of these exercises, what they are is supporting the area, right? So we are developing strength and awareness and awakening of all the muscles that surround your area in the neck and the upper back. So what I did is to go in a diagonal and back. Nice. Super. Excellent. And then I'm going to then just switch it right after, let's say you counted 5 or 6, then just go the other way and you bring it back. Nice. Good. Nilgunda, you have a regular strap. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Super. We did, yes, now it would be this side. Okay, so I'm doing that, stretch and back. Very nice. There's a lot of different exercises that we can do with the stretchy band. I want to show you one more that one that I don't want to forget, that it's also good. And this one, you may be able to do it with one of these if you have instead, okay? It can be either or, I think. I'm going to actually try with this, let's see. Yeah, so wait, I'm going to move the camera so you can see exactly what I want to show you. So in this one, I'm going into a wall. Okay, I have my hands in front. Wait, and I'm going to show you. What I'm going to do is to draw, like imagine that this is the wall. What I'm going to do is take one hand up in a diagonal, then I'm going to take it out to the side. You can put actually the belt here, the band, sorry. So I'm going up, I'm doing 3 points, then side, and then down. Okay, so I'm going to do that at the wall. I'm going at the wall, and I'm doing up, then side, then diagonally down, okay? And then I'm going to change the other one, okay? It's, up, side, and down. And then you switch again, up, side, down, okay? So it's creating that little like race, right, at the wall. Beautiful. I didn't tell you because I was very excited and I went to the wall that I want you to notice as you're doing it, where is your pelvis in relationship with the rest of your body? So you don't want to have your pelvis tilted a lot forward or backwards. So you move yourself a little closer, a little further out of the wall. So you have a standing posture that is supportive, okay? Super. So that one is also another one that it's really good. Like I said, we are going up, we are going to the side, and we are going down, okay? And you do the same amount of repetitions in one than the other. Very good. And then you rest, you come down and take a moment. Good. Super. Shake it a little, take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay. Super. I'm going to take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Now I'm going to use a ball. It doesn't matter really if it's super big or not. I'm going to use this one because I want you to see what I'm doing, but it could very well be, I think these ones are a little small, but if you have something like, I have a medium like therapy ball, something like this, that works. So find something like that. This is a very simple exercise, but it's also helping a lot for shoulders when we feel like they are like pinching or there's stuff that it's compacted there. Watch for a moment. What I'm going to do is to put my ball at the wall and I'm just pressing it with my hand, okay? And I'm standing there and what I'm going to do is circles as I'm pushing my ball into the wall. That's why it has to be something that it's not super small, so you can control it. And you go up, side, and down. Very simple, oops. But we don't usually think of doing that, and that is activating a lot of your shoulder joints. So I'm doing like this, right? Like if I'm cleaning a windshield, right? Or cleaning a window. I'm going in circles, okay? And you're pressing into that ball. And after you do a certain amount one way, then you reverse it, you go the other way. With the same hand, the same side. Nice. Dana, I see perfect. Good. A few times like that. And we go slow, so we try not to bend the elbow, so it's really making, like forcing that shoulder joint to work. Very nice. Good, and then you rest that side, take a breath, and you go to the second side. I'll wait for a couple of minutes, okay? So you try the other side and you try and do the same one way. 5, 6 breaths, or you count for you so you have more or less an even count for both sides. And then the other. Good. Try to face the wall or face the ball, right? Yes, and try to, like I said, you don't bend the elbow, and you try to keep, again, your body in a line that it's supportive, right, of the rest of your structure, right? So you don't, like, you're not like putting extra pressure on one hip or the other. You try to stand in Tadasana, the best Tadasana that you can do, and you're facing the wall and you're doing that action. Good. Okay. Release that at the end. Shake it a little. Good. Take a breath. Again, different options, either medium or a little bigger. I want to show you another thing. Now I'm going a little more into the neck. Again, I'm going to use my wall. I'm not sure if, well, let's see if this works. Now I'm pressing with my head into the wall. In between that is the ball, right? This one, oops, or this one that is a little smaller and I'm a little closer to the wall. And what I'm going to do here is just press into the wall, chin down, and I'm staying there just for a moment. Notice the way you're standing, right? Feel your pelvis. If it feels like it's tilting, move yourself closer to the wall or a little further. I'm taking my chin in. It's not completely tucked in. There's a little bit of space, like if I had like a small plum in between my chin and my chest. And I'm just pressing into the wall. And I put that ball in the same place where we started the session, which was in that connection at the end of, right, the skull. So that connection that it's above the neck. Good. Now, stay there. You don't need me in this one. After you do that and you're pressing, right, I have like that chin in and you're pressing into that ball that you are using. If it's possible to hold still that ball as you press in and move the chin very slowly and not super big movement to the right and the left, go like that a few times. Yeah, that's why sometimes like different sizes do different things. Sometimes it's easier to handle a bigger or a medium or a different size, but try, you have the idea of what is it that we want. I actually saw this exercise done with one of those Pilates balls that are super big, because I think it's easier to handle. And so it could be, if you have one of those at home, that you put it, even though it's super big, and you can move the head more because it will perhaps wiggle less. Good. Very nice. Good. Then slowly take that out, come back towards your mat or towards the place where you have all the stuff. Okay. I'm going to use now my dowel, they call it, or broomstick. And if there's nothing like this that you have today, it could very well be your strap, and play with these, just trying to not bend the elbow so that strap stays like a stick, okay? Okay, I'm going to show you one that it's really good for thoracics and creating strength, okay? I'm sitting, now I need to move the computer again so you can see a little bit more of my mat. Okay, so in this one, I'm sitting a little bit more kind of like when I'm going into a child's pose, so my knees are a little further apart. I have my belt or broomstick with me, and I'm going to put it right behind upper ledges of the shoulder blades, okay? I'm sitting back, I'm holding from behind. I'm going to lean over a little, so I need to use my core so I don't feel like I'm falling or rounding, right? I'm drawing my navel in. And now keeping this, and my sitting bones are grounded so I'm not moving my pelvis too much, I'm going to twist and then back and twist and back. And again, one way, the other. Get it? Try a few times. Going one way, it's mainly thoracic spine. Good. Now what I would say for some of you that I'm seeing is see if you can lean over a little more. Good. And then it's the belly and the chest going one way. Beautiful. Coming back. Now notice if you're letting the head drop. Put it above your shoulders. Yes, Marcy. Good. Nice. Beautiful. Nice. You get that idea? That can be very good if you feel constricted or you feel that it's tight also. This, even though it's creating strength, but it's a really good way to open. Okay. Good. And then now that I have the same, right, the same prop, quote unquote, there's another one that I'm going to show you lying down. And I'm going to be on my belly. Good, you can see me. And again, I'm going to have that with me, okay? So today, again, if you don't have this, you take the belt and you pull from both ends, make it taut, and don't bend the elbow so it stays like if you have a stick, okay? Good, you can see me. And then from there, if you want, you could put a block or a folded blanket under the forehead, or just a piece of your blanket if you want, so you have extra support there, at least for the beginning. And I'm going to take my arms out, and I'm going to bend the elbows and bring that stick back behind me, and then re-extend. I'm lifting my forehead a little bit off that blanket because it's working more of that extension and more of that tension in the back of the neck to create strength. So I'm a little bit elevated. I'm pulling from my stick, right? Both hands moving away from each other, and then re-extending. It's a little bit of work. Use your core, because this posture may go a little bit into your lower back. So you want to draw the abdomen in, the hips into one another, and lengthen through your sacrum. So while you're doing this, it's a little bit like doing that cobra pose, right? Even though we are not doing the same, but we are activating those muscles, those inner shoulder blades, they are moving in towards one another. Good. Do a few of those. And then you release after a few and take a break, take a deep breath. Good. Okay. Whenever you feel like after you take a few breaths and you rest, just roll over and come to a seat so I can see you. And I'm going to show you a couple of other ones. Okay? Good. So, a few others. Either with the blanket again, you can refold it so you can use it for your head. It could be also a block. Now, watch this. I'm going to come sideways. And I'm going to put my head, wait, I'm going to move myself so you can see a little better. Okay, I'm coming sideways. I'm going to be on my left side first just to show you this. And it could be any side. And I'm leaving my arms in front. I have my head supported. Like I said, instead of the blanket, it could be a block. If you feel like that's better for you, it can be nothing, okay? And then, as I stay here, my upper arm is a little bit of a support. What I'm going to do is create different movements with my neck. So the chin is going to stay in, like tucking in again, like if I had a plum in between, or you can even put the tennis ball in between the chin and the chest. And then keeping that, I'm going to lift the head a little bit off my support, and I'm going to bring the chin up towards the upper shoulder. and then back. So it's like if I'm saying no, only halfway, right? I'm going one side and then back. Side and back. Side, chin towards the shoulder and back. Do 5 of those, and then I'm going to show you another movement. Okay, so first I'm doing that no action, and I'm keeping that chin down, like I said, like if I have a fruit in between the chin and the chest. Then I'm going to keep that chin again in, but I'm going to do like if I want to go back or look at the ceiling and then come down. It's almost like saying yes this time. I'm going up and back a little and then back down. You'll feel the tension there. Those muscles now, they are firing and they are kind of like starting to burn a little bit maybe, if you feel like what I was feeling. So we are like asking them to fire up, okay? So we did the no, then we are doing the yes. And then see if, after a few of the yes, rest the head down into your blanket or your pillow or the block just for a moment. And I'm going to change this so we rest the neck there because I know it's fiery. Then we'll switch sides. Now I'm going to extend that underarm. So the one that it's under, for me it's the left, but the one that it's under, you see that my knees are bent, so it's not so much about the lower part, but you can bend them and bring them closer if you want. Now the upper arm, what I'm going to do is create a movement. It's like opening a book. I'm going to open the book as far as I can go with that arm, opening the shoulder, and then coming back. I'm going to do 5 of those. Opening as far as you can go. It's like a twist, and coming back. 3 more. I'm going with my breath. One more. Good, and then rest there, okay? Beautiful. Okay, let's switch it to the other side, and then I'm going to show you another set that is also lying down. But I'm going on the other side, I'm putting my head onto the blanket or the block. Good, you can put the other hand underneath. I'm bending my knees. The first one we did was firing the neck muscles, right? So I'm going to, again, tuck my chin in. Good, and first I'm going to say like no, going towards my upper shoulder. So I keep the chin in, I'm moving the chin towards the shoulder, of course, as far as it goes, and then I'm coming back towards the shoulder and back. Do 5 of those if you can, more or less, right? Just to create the habit. Don't rush it, remember, this workshop is slow motion. So we really get a little deeper and we fire the areas that are usually more rested. Good. And then slowly you can add the yes motion, right? We did first like the no, you're going towards the shoulder and back, and then you go a little bit the chin further in or down, and then like if you want to look up towards the ceiling. Good, and you try and do the same amount, okay, on one and the other. Good, these ones, like I said, they fire a little more, so make sure that you graduate it, you do the amount that feels okay, then you rest. Good, and then we'll add what it's called, or I like to call the open book one, okay? After you did the other, the second set, again, I have my knees bent, this time the underarm is extended, the opposite one is on top, and whenever you're there and ready, do 5 of those, opening the arm all the way to the other side, and then returning. I'm doing 5. And 1 more. Then you rest there for a couple of breaths before pressing up. Good. Okay, super. Now I'm taking my regular belt or strap, the ones that we use in yoga class. Okay, and I'm going to open it first. We are going to do a couple of things with this one. Okay, so one that it's simple, pretty simple in the sense of setup is to take the belt. I'm going to put it behind and I'm going into the occipital ridge, what we call, or the very end, right again, that area where we landed before. And then I'm going to make the belt kind of come towards my temples or the cheeks, okay? Good. And I'm pulling from there, okay? And look at what I'm going to show you like this from the front so you can see. So I'm going to mirror you guys. So I'm going to keep the right arm up and I'm going to bring the left side now down towards my chest. You see how I went to the opposite side? So I'm just pulling from there a little to the side. And then the side that it's up, the right one for you guys, I'm just going to press it and lift it towards the left. And then I'm coming back. So it's a little bit like pull, push. I'm pulling and lifting towards the side and then releasing, coming back. Good, let's do 3 more. Good, pulling, lifting, and then back. Good, and 1 more, pulling to the side and back. Good, release that. Notice one side and the other before switching. Maybe, I don't know, sometimes when I do this, for me, sometimes I feel more space first in one side, the side that I was working than the other, but it's personal. Good, and then let's do the other side. So now, again, we start from that equal point, just to remember. Now I'm catching the left side, and then I'm going to bring the opposite one down towards the chest or towards the opposite side, okay? Good, with the upper side, my left, I'm pulling, and I'm also bringing it towards the right, and then back. Good, so I'm pulling up and over, and back. Again, I'm trying to be able to hear, and back. Good, and do 2 more. Nice. Super. Good. After that last one, release for a moment so you can feel again the sensations. And now I'm going to add one of my favorite ones that I'm also going to do with this strap. Just stay there for a moment and feel there. And you can even go like side to side, like what Marcy was doing, which is perfect because it gives you like an idea of maybe differences between, or from the moment you started to work to now, okay? Good. This one is one that I learned from a teacher that I follow a lot, and I really like the stuff that he does. It's very alignment oriented. His name is Shan. And what I'm going to do is to take the belt first behind me under the armpits. And I have both ends, and it's like half and half, right? So I have this under the armpits, upper back. I did this in my last neck workshop. And then, once I have the belts in front of me, I'm going to show you like this so you can see it. I'm going to cross one over the other. So now there's one over the other. I'm going sideways again so you see it. Okay, beautiful. Now I have, if you look at that cross that you created, there is a hole, right? There is a hole there close to your chest. And I'm going, it's funny, but I'm going to put my head inside that hole. okay? So then when I come back, that cross is behind me in the neck. Yes, you see it, with hair included, okay? Good, and now I have those tails, and now I'm going to put them above my ears. It's kind of a funny thing. Yes, I love this so much. Okay, so this is pretty much what I'm going to use as a prop to help me lengthen the neck. I'm going to show you sideways. So I'm pulling up, and I'm also opening the chest a bit, okay? So I want to show you so you can see me always. But I'm holding, right, the occipital, the south of my skull, and then I'm pulling up and lifting a little bit through the chin. Now, many times, and now I'm going to show you, I'm going to go further. I like to do this standing, so I can feel the lift also from the waistline up, and I'm leaning and I'm pulling and I'm going with my hands as far as my belt lets me. My belt is pretty long, so I can go far, and lean back a little and lift through the back of the neck. So I'm not completely leaning over, right? So my chin is not totally going up. I want to show you. It's like lifting a little bit, but I'm not doing this. I don't want to compress the neck. I want to create length and lift, length and lift, length and lift. And this is very much, for some of you that I know that practice yoga, this is very much what we want to create when we are kind of like in a high lunge, you know, or in a warrior one, or those shapes. This is what we want to create. We don't want to throw the head back. We want to lift the thoracics. We want to lengthen the upper back and the neck and the back of the skull, okay? Good. I was in a workshop one time and they made us do this and do the chair pose in this shape. Interesting. So in that one also, we are trying, even though it's different shape here in the lower area, I'm trying to still feel that thoracic cavity lifting, okay? And creating that action that I'm not throwing my neck back, just to show you a little bit of a more fiery way to activate the whole upper back, okay? And then release that. Good. Take that belt out. You have this in the video if you remember. If you don't remember how to do it, good. And then move it out to the side for a moment and feel again the space in the neck. There. Beautiful. Okay. Take a deep breath. Just notice sense. Good. Beautiful. Super. Okay. Another one. I'm going to take again one of my tennis balls. So now I'm going towards the small. And again, I'm going to point towards the wall, just so you have the reference of the space. Okay. Good. So my wall is behind me just for reference. When I say I want to lengthen towards the wall, you know that I'm going towards that place. I'm lying down and I'm going to put that ball in between the chin and the chest. So now it's like if I have that plum or that piece of fruit. And first I'm trying to hug that ball in, of course. And then I'm going to lift the back of the skull half an inch off the floor, off the sticky, okay? And the action is press into the therapy ball and lengthen the neck towards the wall you have behind you. It's quite intense. It's a super good exercise to fire those back neck muscles, create strength, and open up what's compacted. So what I'm showing from here, but what I'm doing is to hold the therapy ball, and at the same time that I'm holding it, I'm lengthening the sides and the back of the neck towards the wall. I lifted my head like half an inch off the sticky mat. You take maybe one breath or two, and then you release the head down, and you can hold with your hand the ball and rest. And this one is a good one to repeat or do like a certain amount of repetition. So you rest, you put the ball again, you go again for maybe 2-3 breaths, and then again you rest. You bring it down. And then again. So try and do like between 3 and 5 repetitions with 3 breaths each, right? Or 2 or 3 breaths each time. And that is what creates the habit of being able to hold it more and feel less of that like fiery or tingling, and then it will start becoming stronger. Okay, same as many other shapes that we do that first the body is not used to. This is training those muscles so they can hold the head. Good. I will know that you're done with this whole sequence when I see some of you coming back towards the computer, or when you roll to the side and you come back. But don't rush it, please. We still have time to do some more. Beautiful. For the next one that I'm going to show you, what I'm preparing again is both my therapy balls inside the sock or inside the little bag that I have. So I'm trying to just push them in again so we can use them together. And then I'm closing that little bag, okay? Good. Very nice. I'm just checking that I'm having some of you come back. Perfect. Okay, good. Super. So now the next one, sitting at any way you want to sit. Many of these exercises, me today, because I want to stay close, I'm kind of like kneeling, but many of these exercises are very good doing them standing, right? So if you feel like you want to be more active, you can do them standing. If not, you stay sitting. In this one, what I'm going to do, making sure that this is like pulled in or closed so they don't go out, I'm going to now put right there where you feel the collarbones, and I'm going to, of course, bring my chin in. I'm going to show you sideways. This is what it looks like. It's not very sexy, but this is very helpful. So in this exercise, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to do it and show you, but what I'm going to try and do is to pull with my chin in, like if I want to bring that bag with the two therapy balls into me, okay? So I'm here, and what I'm doing is like suck the ball, the tennis balls together up towards me, and you're gonna feel more of the firing there on the sides and the back, okay? There. This is a good place to put your husbands with the balls, and then you tell them, you ask a question of something that you want them to say yes. There's not a lot of options here to move. So you stay there, right? Just a joke, but pull up, and if you feel you can hold that, then maybe you can move just, it's tiny because this is, if not, it's going to start falling, but see if you can take the chin a little bit to the right, then back to center, a little bit to the left, back to center. It's minimal because it's going to start moving around, okay? But this is another super good one to create that strength and create all that power that we are missing sometimes in the neck muscles, upper area. Good. If the movement side to side or just leaning a little bit, that feels like hard, you can just do the first one is super good, like pull that, like the sock, the little sock up towards you. Good. Nice. Then slowly release after a few of those, and take a few breaths and release. Okay, I want to show you something else that it's not kind of like here in the plan, but I think it can be super helpful. And for that, I'm going to bring like a chair so I can show you. For that, if you have at home some kind of bench or two chairs together, this is another one that is super good for the neck. Hold on, I'm going to bring a chair. So any chair from home, if you have more than one, it can actually be better because you can lie down onto a set of chairs, okay? And what I'm doing here, just so you can see, is imagine that I have more than one, right? And so I'm lying on my chairs, but if not, I'm just keeping my torso on top of the chair as long as you can still be supported on the floor. And I'm even holding the legs with my hands, so my neck and my head, they are out of the chair. And what I'm doing here, let's say I'm here, I'm going to do kind of like a plank. What I'm doing here is to bring the chin down and then lift up. Simple, but it's working those muscles. Chin in and then up. If you have something there that you can test it, test it. And I'm going to give you another modification for this. Good. So this one, what it is that I have the chest right supported or the rest of the body. So the movement is purely in the neck muscles. And if that one feels okay and you want to go a little further, then you can add what it's called load. How do I add load? By lacing my fingers and putting the hands on top of the head. So now, as I'm moving the head in, it feels heavier. And then I need to push into my hands, and it feels a little bit more challenging because I really need to push into, right, the weight of my arms. So that one would be a second phase, right? Good. So that's one that you can have for reference, or I see some of you are testing it, which is cool, but that one is something that it can be super helpful. Like I said, you can put several chairs and lie on top of them, okay? Good. Okay, now we're going to do one that is simple, and I just need a block for this one. Again, you can do them standing, or I'm just staying close, but standing or sitting, okay? So I have a block. I'm gonna go sideways so I can show you this. Good. And I have the block flat, and I'm facing my block. And the first thing that I'm going to do is that this long side, I'm going to pair it with my forehead. Okay, I have my hands in front, and the action that I'm doing is to push the block into my forehead and my forehead into the block. That's it. And you're going to try and breathe for 5. And of course, they are creating, it's like a little fight, right? Between the head pushing and the block pushing back, right? Fighting a little bit of that. This is also a super good way to find that alignment, head above the shoulders. So I'm not pushing here, right? They are pretty much lined up. And I'm creating, you may feel it already, right? But the firing and the strengthening of the neck muscles in the sides and in the back and in the front. Good. So we are going to play with this with different situations. So first we have the front one, okay? Now I'm gonna go in the back. Same idea, same flat. This time it's behind the skull, right? In the bones, right? The skull. And now I'm going to, again, I want you to notice, right? I'm here in the camera just checking, but I don't want my head to be forward, right? Or further back. So again, I'm going to try and feel ears over shoulders. And now it's the back of my head pressing into the block pressing into the skull. And keep that for 5. Try to breathe in a fluid manner. You know, breath is super important. Here I'm not putting a lot of emphasis in that, but you always want, as you are taking the exercises, to be very aware of that fluidity in the breath. It's really going to help create that strength and the stretches that you want to create, okay? I will see when you are done with the number 5, let's say, and then I'll show you the next. Beautiful. Super. Now, I keep playing. Same idea, flat. Now I'm going to bring it to the temple. I'm showing you like this just so you see, but I'm now coming like this. and now it's exactly the same. Now I'm firing more of the side. So I'm pushing my block into the temple, temple into the block. It looks a little funny, but again, I'm not letting the head compensate, right? Come all the way to one side or all the way to the other. I'm trying to stay very much at the center. Maybe you can see yourself in your camera, and my ears are right above the shoulders, and I'm pressing one into the other. 5 breaths. Beautiful. Some of you are still doing it. Awesome. When you're done, take a deep breath, right? And of course, we are going to move into the last side. So whenever you're good for that, last side, I'm going into the opposite temple. I'm pushing with my hand, and I'm trying to bring one into the other, and 5 breaths. Beautiful. When you are done, then you release, you take a couple of breaths. Good. Okay. So we did a few specifically for neck. So rest it now, take a deep breath. And I'm going to show you, now I'm moving again in towards shoulder, to show you another one that can be helpful for support of all of those muscles that we just fired, a little bit more towards the upper back, and also of course shoulder. A lot of shoulder here, rotator cuff and joint, okay? For this one, I'm coming back to my mat, and I'm coming onto the side, okay? I'm gonna show you, it's pretty simple. The only thing we need is a block. This, I'm going to give you another option. This can be done at home also with a weight. If you have a weight at home, one of those, right, dumbbells that we call, and you want to add extra load for for rehabilitation of the shoulder, it can be done with one of those. I'm just going to show with a block because it's something that we tend to have at home, okay? What I'm going to do is first to lie down. I have my right knee bent, and it's the same side where I'm holding my block. And the main thing that I'm going to do in this exercise is to try and not bend my elbow, okay? It's simple in the sense that I'm not activating other stuff. I'm mainly going to be working with that right shoulder, okay? First exercise, holding the block, or just like with the palm holding it. What I'm going to do is to push the block up to the ceiling, and then bring it back down. So my shoulder is going to move off my sticky mat and then return to the sticky. That's it. Let's go. Let's try and do 10. Up. I did 5, go 5 more if you're more or less going with me. Good, don't bend the elbow, so we are really forcing the shoulder joint to work. Beautiful. Nice. Ah, Marcy, you have the same block as I have. Good, super. Keep going until you hit 10, let's say, or 8 or 10. And then I'm going to show you in the same side another modification, okay? So once you're there, after number 10, I'm holding the block the same way. I'm in the same position as before. Watch it one time if you want. Now I'm going to add a little bit of rotation. So now I'm going to lean over to the left, push the block up, and then return to my supine, okay? So I'm sliding over to the left as I'm lifting, and then I'm coming back. Let's go for 5. Pushing, rolling over to the left, back, pushing, back. I'm adding one more. I'm not bending my elbow. Bring the arm down and wait or rest for a moment. So take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. Before we go to the second side, I'm going to show you one last modification for this, which I really love because we are getting deeper into the shoulder joint, okay? So for this one, another 5, what I'm going to do, watch if you want first, I'm adding into what I did before. I'm rolling over to push, but also I'm going to create internal rotation and external rotation. So I'm going one way, the other way, and then I'm coming back to the neutral, okay? So I added extras. I'm sliding, pushing up, then I'm going internal rotation, external rotation, my elbow is still not bent, it's still straight, and then I'm coming back, okay? Try that for 5. Coming up, rolling over, rotation, then back to the neutral, and back for 5. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Liz. Good. Excellent. Do 5 of those. This one is super good when you feel like a little bit of pinching or neck tension that goes from the neck down towards the shoulder. This can be good to support and open up and create mobility in that area. Okay, beautiful. It's also actually, there's so many things that we are activating here. We are also creating a lot of activation in the lymphatic system, in the lymph nodes. So it's super good, this one, with movement there in the armpit, okay? Once you come back, take a breath, rest, or you can sit up, and then we'll roll over. Don't rush it, okay? I'm just saying. We'll roll over to the second side and we'll do the 3 different options that we did. The first one, I'm just reminding you, the first one is just to push up the block. So the movement is the shoulder off the mat and coming back without bending the elbow. I was just showing because I don't have the mat here. It's like if I'm pushing like this and back, okay? That one was the first one. So you can do like, we did 10, but you can just for reference do like 5 to 7 of those or the same amount that as you did before. And now I didn't say, but you're doing it. The left knee is the one that is bent and the left foot is down. The second one is just like for reference, for reminder. The second one will be when we start rolling over, coming towards this time the opposite side, beautiful, to the right side, and you keep pushing with the elbow straight and then you return. Carol, that's great. Good, so rolling over and coming back. Excellent. Beautiful, and then the last one is the same thing that you just did. I'm just saying, right, for reference, and then we add the internal and external rotation for 5, or try that a few times, and then you come back. Good. Okay, super. When you are back, no rush, but when you're back, release the block and rest on your back. Take a few breaths there, sensing both sides. Good. We don't have a lot of time left and I want to do a little bit of a neck massage before we end, but I wanted to show you one more so you have one extra that you can use. And this one is, you can just watch it if you don't want to do it, okay? But I want to give you one extra that can be also super good for upper back and developing those back neck muscle strength here. So what I'm doing is lying down on my belly, I'm making fists, and I'm bringing my hands, you can see more or less at the line of my shoulders, or it can be even a little further back. And here, if you want, you can put again a blanket or something to hold the forehead, or you can be lifted here a little more if you want to create a little bit more firing in the muscles. And what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to just lift. This looks like nothing is going on, but there is a lot going on and you'll feel it. So I'm trying to bring, the idea here is, listen, that I'm going to lift my elbows, but before lifting my elbows, what I'm doing is contracting my shoulder blades towards one another. So I'm using those muscles instead of just pulling my elbows up, which is a different way of doing it, okay? So I'm working shoulder blades in, and then from there I'm lifting the elbows, and then I'm coming down. And again, I'm contracting the shoulder blades into one another, lifting the elbows, and then coming down. This is a lot of work, maybe 2 more or 3. Shoulder blades in, lift elbows, release, shoulder blades in and down, lift, release. This can be extended into another modification. I'm using my core also so the lower back doesn't feel bad. Lifting, then extending, then bringing it back and using my shoulder blade muscles, upper back, and then return, okay? Again, lifting, first shoulder blades, elbows up, sending the arms forward, back, and down. And then you rest, okay? That's another one that it's pretty fiery and it's working a lot of those muscles there. I'm going to say that this one is one of those that you need to slowly add repetitions. Maybe the first time you do only 3. And then you add and you do 2 more, okay? Because that one is a little stronger. Okay. Then I want to show you one that is more like yoga class oriented, that it's also super good. We're going to use the block. I'm going to put it medium height. And I'm going to cross my shins. So cross leg position. That block is going to come right behind the shoulder blades. And then I'm going to interlace fingers, bring them behind the head. And the exercise here, first, of course, let yourself drop into the block and the head into the hands. For a moment there, feel that sensation. And then we are going to bring the elbows a little closer to one another. And I want you to squeeze the block with the shoulder blades, like if you want to pinch it with the muscles behind your chest. So see if you can do that. And then keep lengthening through the back of the neck, supporting the head with the hands. That one is another good one for neck and shoulders, upper back. And you stay there for a few breaths before coming back, okay? So that one is another one. Okay, take a breath or 2, roll over to the side. We don't have a lot of time. And okay, so now what I want you to do is take again the sack or the little bag with the balls inside, and you're going to take your block and put it flat. Good, and you're going to put the balls right on top. Okay, so now I have that. And I'm going to go again, like I did in the beginning, that same place. It's not in the neck, it's at the base of the skull. You can keep the knees like I have, bend the feet down, okay, so it feels comfortable in the lower back. My arms are to the sides. And just my head, right, the weight of my skull is pressing into the therapy balls. Take a few breaths here. This feels good. Stay there for a few breaths, okay? I'm going to move these towards like the end. There's a lot of more exercises, but I'll put them in another video another time. But just let the head drop into the therapy balls in the base of the skull. Close your eyes, soften the skin in the face. And whenever you feel ready, you can add a little bit of a yes motion to the head to add a little bit of a massage that way. And then, of course, if you want, after doing a few of the yeses, you go very gently doing side to side, like if you're saying no, right? So we are touching different trigger points. Good. Okay, I'm adding another option that you can, of course, I'm adding them so you have them later on, okay? Now you can try and sense how it feels to put your right forearm on top of your forehead. So what I'm doing is adding a little bit of weight, right, onto your head, onto the therapy balls. So just the forearm, right forearm on top of the forehead. And if you want, you can add again a little bit of right and left movement, like saying no, keeping that forearm on top of the forehead. So try a few times, going side to side. If putting the forearm feels too heavy or it doesn't feel good, of course, you can take that out or just put the base of your palms, right? You could try just with one palm and go one side and the other just a couple of times. And then you can also do the yes and no a couple of times. And then you can try the opposite forearm if you want for a few times. This is just to give you an option that can be also helpful, adding those movements with a little bit of extra weight. And this is also a cool place where you can sometimes experiment, right? Sometimes it feels good to go to one side and stay there, or maybe instead of being more side to side, it's a little bit of circling motion, perhaps, like I said, touching into a specific trigger point and staying there for a little bit. Try and keep the eyes closed. Good. And then you take the hands or the forearms to the sides and lift a little bit of your head so you can take the therapy balls out and also the block out. And we are going to lie down and take more of a Shavasana. So if you want to put bolster or blanket under the legs or any pillows around or pad your head, do that. And we are going to try and settle into a rest. I'm going to guide it for these last few minutes. Try to settle with your eyelids heavy. Feel the weight of your body, letting it drop below earth, softening everything as much as you can. This practice is a practice of studying ourselves. So we are always in the student mind, studying the body, studying the breath, and see if you can bring a little bit of this idea of observing your own rest. Almost like becoming a scientist and watching yourself breathe and drop into rest, watching the pattern of your breath happening in your body as it unfolds. Just keep your attention into the cadence, the volume, and the pattern of your breath. And don't interrupt that with the desire of fixing or controlling or shifting the breath. All parts of your body fall heavily down the more you exhale. And your whole body is breathing in when you inhale. Receiving a deep inhalation through the nose, big exhale through your mouth. Keeping the face soft, the eyes kind. We slowly return to our bodies, to the room you are in, creating gentle movements through your fingers, your toes, maybe wiggling through the feet, the hands, the wrists. Naturally moving whatever feels appropriate. And then slowly moving the legs, perhaps bending the knees. If you want, you can take your arms over the head or roll over to one side. Take your time. When you feel ready, we press up with the hands or forearms so we protect the neck and we lift up to a seat. And from here we sit tall just for a moment with the hands together, coming into the heart center in gratitude, relaxing the shoulders. Notice where your head is in space. Try to line up, ears above shoulders, shoulders above the hips, spinal cord lengthening, and a reminder of those 3 S's: skull, scapulae or shoulder blades, and sacrum.